going to work, and I opened. Well, obviously, a bunch of people showed up to get Assassin's Creed and Left 4 Dead, and several of them were very angry because they tried to come at midnight and we had closed. Needless to say, probably my least proud moment with customer service because I was a jerk to everyone all day that day because literally I had just recovered from a collapsed lung and was on Vicodin while I was working. And I ended up working open to close that day also. So I didn't get home until like 10:30 that night. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that story,
No.
dog. That's wild.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the kickoff of the Midnight Release podcast that my friend here, Austin, and I have decided to do after years of friendship, thousands of memories, and thought there'd be no better way than to share these things with you.
Hey, how's it going? It's going to be fun. Frankly, like any other night, we all get together. We kind of just joke around, mess around, and talk.
Yeah, not really anything any different in the grand scheme of things. But before we get into the overall flow and the vibe of the podcast itself, let's get a couple housekeeping things out of the way. In general, we have a pretty tight circle of friends. Howie, Austin's brother Wayne, my buddy Brian, we all keep it pretty tight. And there's going to be these guys as well as some others that you're going to meet kind of along the way as we go on this journey. But we're all really deep-rooted into what we're going to be talking about, this golden era of nostalgia, if you will. And that's what we're going to be talking about kind of throughout the entire podcast. But to get into myself a little bit, just kind of a little bit of intro. My name is Chase from Louisville, Kentucky. And for those who don't know, it is Louisville, not Louisville, not Louisville, Louisville. And I'm 36, I think, right? 36, 89? Yeah, 36.
You can't count.
I know, I can't count. Austin and I met working at Gamestop, which was in 2009.
I started in 10.
10. All right. So I worked at GameStop from 2005 to 2011. So even though we only had like a year together, we're still here after all these years. Everything that interests me is really all things just fandom related, games, anime, all the things that you would expect, I guess. And just a little tidbit about GameStop is I made it a point to apply to GameStop before I even got my permit, which was a huge deal back then. Everybody wanted to start driving, but I wanted to apply to GameStop. And, it was a thing where I was super active in local music with some friends, and they all decided to pursue music. And then I got promoted at GameStop and wanted to make a whole career out of it. Frankly, I figured I'd still be there if circumstances didn't change it, but it's why I went to college and all that stuff. So, but yeah, enough about me. Let's pivot over. Austin, your turn.
So, of course, my name's Austin. I'm married with 2 kids. I'm also from Louisville. I've lived here my entire life. So I started, just speaking on like Chase said, I've known him since 2010. I had a ton of fun in my time at GameStop. I started there in October of 2010. It was the month after I turned 16. I got promoted to key holder right after I turned 18, like the day after.
Basically the same life cycle I did.
Yeah.
Started at 16, key holder at 18.
And then I got promoted to a store leader. I was an assistant for a year. Then I got promoted to a store leader. And then I ended up leaving GameStop in 2018, and now my life is where it's at with my wife and kids.
Yeah, so we literally kind of had the same GameStop life cycle, just at different times, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is a good time.
Yours happened before I got out of high school.
Thanks for reminding of the age difference. All right, so that kind of sets the stage a little bit. So basically, this was our press start section, of course. So we're getting everything started. This is the opening. This is the intro. So, we press start on how the pod is going to flow. You may have seen the title of this episode is Midnight at GameStop. So each episode, after the pressing start and quick intro, we're going to dive into our main topic, which will align with the episode title. This is our story mode section. Once we get through all of that, we'll then pivot over to our side quests. So various different segments. We could be discussing something in line with the main topic or something totally different. We could be doing some games or trends that are going on through social media or quizzes. We may bring on other friends for specific topics as well, or bringing content from you, the listener. We're going to want to hear what's on your memory card, if you will. And then lastly, we're going to hit our save point at the end as we kind of wrap things up and prep for the next episode.
So now we're going to get into today's episode, right?
That's exactly it. We get through all the rambling and all the intros, kicking things off, and frankly, you're damn right, man, because I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it every episode, that just some memories are worth lining up for. Okay, so story mode today, midnight at GameStop. So obviously, from a midnight launch perspective, I don't really think they do them much anymore.
I know they're kind of coming back. I saw, I still have people that work at GameStop, and like I know one, she was broadcasting, they were doing I think it was for Pokemon. They had kind of a launch.
That would make sense.
It's not like it used to be, but they're still there. As we all know, digital's changed things. So.
Right. Well, and I know they did. Like, I got a Switch 2, and they technically did do a midnight, but it was not store like every single store. Like where I was at the time, they didn't do a midnight. I had to go when they first.
Well, opened. It's also different too, because like now, like story or midnights in general they're not the party they used to be.
No,
is the best way for me to put it.
Well, no, they're not at all. And the thing is, like my first taste of midnight launch technically was before working at GameStop. We'll get into that, but there was something about back then, like it was a big deal. Like I think it started out as a big deal where it was very specific games would get a midnight launch, like only the big titles that we expected. And then I feel while we were still there, like it got to a point where everything got a midnight launch.
They switched. Did you remember? So towards the end, I guess it was probably 2 stores before my last store. They switched to that 11 o'clock release, or where GameStop was allowed to sell the game to kind of compete. It's what they did to kind of compete with digital.
Yeah.
And that is the only thing that was still bringing people out. But the problem was, like, people were coming to do it, and then they still couldn't get on the servers until midnight when it actually launched.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It was, it was very niche at first, like only specific games, and then we got to a point where we were doing midnights for every single game.
We were doing midnights for games that did not need midnights.
No, not at all. Well, and for the most part, and frankly, the reason that this podcast is releasing on Monday nights at midnights is almost every big game would come out on Monday night at midnight, so a Tuesday release. There were some exceptions. Nintendo, and I think they're still doing it today, they release on Fridays for whatever reason. So we had the Thursday nights at midnight.
Some of your big titles switched to doing that too, and I don't really know why.
Yeah, well, and I feel the pivot has happened recently. I mean, back in the day, it seemed to always be Tuesdays where the big, but Nintendo's did Fridays. Of course, your movies usually were Friday, so they were Thursday night also. But I mean, it was just something about, and it's funny, and we're talking about midnight launches. Yet I started at GameStop when I was 16 in 2005. You started at GameStop when you were 16 in 2010. So for the record, probably didn't actually work a midnight launch until we were both 18. Let's just throw that caveat out there. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Because 16-year-olds.
No, I genuinely didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, neither did I. I did not work any midnight launch until I was 18 years old either.
Well, I was able to work, but I was also a different case, because if you remember, they had it signed where I co-opted and stuff where I could, and it signed out where I could work 40 hours a week and I could do anything at 17.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to co-op because I went to I did the private school thing for a few years and then switched to public school, and because I wasn't there all 4 years, I couldn't co-op. So that was annoying.
So I was a little bit of a different scenario, but I don't think she ever had me work. I think so. My first one that I working at GameStop was probably Gears 3 that I can remember.
That would probably be
because I remember getting the Xbox, but I feel like she had me go because I was 16. Getting ready to turn 17, if I remember right. Like I was literally like I couldn't even buy the games I was selling because
all the ESRB 16. Rating, yeah.
So because I got the system because I'd been working there for a while.
Did you get was it Gears 3 that had the red system?
Yeah, that's
oh man,
yes.
See,
Yeah.
I miss the limited edition consoles that we don't really get. I mean, they're not as mainstream now, but
Well, now the problem is now, like the PS5, for instance, you can literally just buy a case and put it on your case.
well, yeah,
So that's why they stopped really doing like for that.
that's true. Well, and then the 360 did the faceplates, which was legit. Which, speaking of the 360, what's so funny? So your first Midnight Gears 3. So my first
Working midnight.
We're working midnight. Working good. Yeah. So my first working, not working midnight was, and I had to noodle on it because I was thinking to myself, I think it was the launch of the 360. But I was
Your
like,
first launch being a console launch is insane.
and that's what I was like. No, there's got to be something else. But so my birthday's in March, St. Patty's Day. I was born green, if you ask around. But so I was like, there had to be something else, like Madden maybe or something. But no,
Well, Madden's always came out in August, so
right. But I don't think. But see, Madden was one of those that I think is one that they didn't do midnights for. And then when they started doing midnights for everything, they did for Madden, NCAA. But I don't think they used to do standard midnights. But the first midnight I can remember was the Xbox 360. I just was like, there's no way that's the first one, but it was. And look, we'll get into this at some point. Like, I'm a Sony fanboy, 100%. Like, to it's a flaw to some, but nonetheless, the 360 was an amazing console, like without a doubt. And being at that launch as an employee, like I was too young to partake in like the PS2 and stuff like that, so I didn't get to experience that. Experiencing it from an employee's perspective, like you think of retail. Like, we all know about the Karens. They weren't Karens back then, but now you've got the Karens and all the issues. And everyone always has a retail horror story. Lord knows we have plenty of them. But, dude, midnight launches in general, and I would say especially a console launch, like, I cannot think of anything negative. I can't think of anything squirrely. I can't think of any, like, it was just a vibe, man. Like, I hate to use the word vibe because that's like the new generation word, but.
Yeah, and you're old.
Unnecessary. But no, it just, everyone was chill about it. Like,
I was gonna say mine. Like, the thing is, I think the only time I've ever had an actual problem wasn't even at a midnight, and just so happened I'll never forget that day because there was a dude trying to trade in a game, didn't like what I was giving him for him, and he was like getting super antsy. And just so happened there's an off-duty cop standing there right beside me.
Well, some of those big launches, like, that's the thing. Like, you had to have law enforcement involved. And so and that's the thing. My first midnight being at the console launch, I was working at a mall store in J Mall. You would have been at 737, right? Yeah.
Not during that launch because I was like.
Oh, yeah.
You said 2005?
Yeah. Well, that was me, 2005.
I'm saying that was the first one you worked.
Yeah.
I was 11.
Well, okay. So fair enough. Thank you for just continuing to remind me. It's close enough, but far enough that he can give me enough crap for our age differences. But
that's actually a very accurate statement because we're really not that far apart.
No, conceptually we're not. But that's the thing. Like, so my GameStop experience was a mall store, where yours was not, because you started.
Well, and if you remember, like, there for a while, so it was probably right after you left, but when they stopped letting them do them in the mall,
right? They
would come to us.
That's right.
Remember, they would come over, and the store manager at the time would do them with us at our store.
Yep,
he would bring his product over. We would do them at our store.
Yeah, because the malls started asking for they
wanted them to pay them or do extra on the rent or something like that.
It was a pay issue, and then security and all that. Yeah. I forgot that it pivoted to that, where the malls stopped doing midnights. But the thing is, what's really funny is that my first midnight, like, as a consumer, wasn't even at a GameStop, actually. So my first midnight as a consumer was Halo 2. Like, that was
Which store did you go to for that? Just out of curiosity. Was it in the mall?
No,
or was it whenever?
Well, no. So the Best Buy by the mall, yeah, like the one on Outer Loop.
But that's what I'm saying. Was it that GameStop that you did that, or was it the Best Buy?
No, it was the Best Buy. So
that's wild.
So 2004. So let's see, 2005. I started working at GameStop, so I was 16. So I was 15 in 2004. And the thing is, that was the first midnight I was ever able to participate in. I was 15 years old. you may be thinking, what parent's going to let their 15-year-old?
No, because I'm getting somewhere. I was actually going somewhere else with that.
Uh-oh.
Do you remember? So Modern Warfare 2 came out in 09.
Yep.
So it would have been Modern Warfare 2, World at War, Blops 1? No. World at War.
Yeah, it was World at War, then Black Ops 1.
Then MW 3, then Blops 2?
I think so. I think that was the cycle.
Our timeline matches up there too, because that was my first Midnight as a consumer, was Blops 2.
Black Ops 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So that's what I'm getting at. That's what I was trying to like calculate. So like, if my math is right, I believe Black Ops 2 came out when I was 15, because there should have been one other game and then Black Ops 3 came out. AW should have came out right after.
Yeah. No, that would make sense. So
I was probably 15, and I went with Wayne and our buddy Josh that I know you do.
I forgot.
So we went, and that was insane.
Well, and that's the thing, the Halo 2 launch. So, first off, so we both had experiences as 15-year-olds going out to a game release at midnight.
Which, I had an adult. I had a brother who was 18 at the time.
Yep. I also had an adult, but it was my sister's boyfriend at the time, and his friend worked at Best Buy.
I needed an adult.
Yeah. Well, no, his friend worked at Best Buy, and he actually had parked out in front. So you know how that Best Buy's got a big open space up there. So he had a Nissan Tracker maybe, I don't know, but he had a system in it with like subs and all that.
It had music playing.
So it had music playing and all that. And
was there a lot of people at that midnight?
Oh my gosh, it was nuts. But I felt like I had the inside scoop because we were able to hang out by the car and all that. We're first in line because of him being an employee. And the thing about Halo 2, like I pre-ordered I think it was before they had legendary editions, but they had that collector's edition.
3 would have been, because Black Ops 2 and 3 should have been the first ones that had.
Well, they were prestige is what they called it. Yeah. But I think it was Halo 3 that started the legendary edition. But Halo 2 had that silver metallic steelbook.
3 should have been the one with the Master Chief in it, right? The Master Chief statue? Or the helmet?
That was the helmet. That was the helmet. But Halo 2 was my first as a consumer. The console, the 360 was my first as an employee, which again, there was something about midnight launches that brought out the absolute just best in people. Like, I mean, just, it was so, and you were talking about how crazy Black Ops 2 was. I mean, that was the thing. As an employee, like, your Black Ops 2 was as a consumer, but you think of Gears, and I think of the console, and even other midnight launches that we had. I mean, as an employee, like, we had to set up and get food usually, or
there was so many people at Black Ops 2. There was probably, if I remember right, there was like 1,100 pre-orders on that game because it was at my store. It was, so there was I think there was like 400 people that came to that. I've never seen it stretched like that. Line is the longest line, and I'll never forget because we were there pretty early. We got there,
and you all had to those big launches. You had to make sure the line went the other way because Best Buy was right down. So
it had to go the opposite way.
Yeah,
this one went the opposite way because obviously it was before I got there.
Right,
it went the opposite way all the way up and around. To the street. Yeah,
because they didn't go behind the building because it was a little sketchy back there. So they had to route it up through the parking lot toward Tumbleweed and all that, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, I mean, I would say, like, obviously the console launch was legit, like it was, like, but I don't remember it as much except for.
See, I worked the PS4 and Xbox One console launch.
Yeah,
and then the Switch came out right after as well.
Right.
So I worked all of those.
Yeah.
So
I will say, so the console launch was great, but my most memorable, like when I think of midnight launches, and I feel like it's a cliche, I'm sure a lot of people probably have the same most memorable, but when Modern Warfare 2 came out, which was in 2009. Now, so I was a store manager at that time because I got promoted to a store manager on Father's Day in 2009. So that's what's so funny is I moved from one store that was like a slow store to like a really, really busy store, which is the store you wound up working in. But see, that's the thing. I think we met in 2009 because I think you were shopping because Howie was working there. And I think you were shopping in 2009 in that store. because I worked over there.
I think because I guess Howie started Christmas that year and worked throughout the next year.
Yeah, well, no, he would have started. He would have started probably Christmas of '08. We'll have to ask him when he gets on here, but because Howie worked there, I was only at that store for a month before
I never really visited Howie whenever
really
he worked there, because like I would hang out with Scott, but it would always be which, by the way, Howie and Scott are the same person.
Oh, he's Howie.
I've known him for my entire life, and he's Scott. But he worked there after they left Dairy Queen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then he worked there, and I was still going to his house every weekend.
Well,
like we were hanging out every weekend.
Yeah, well, I worked at that store for a month before I got promoted to New Cut at the time, which, I remember 737, obviously. 109 is the store number that I started at. I cannot remember New Cuts, though. Was it 25?
Not even
22? I can't remember. I might have to Google.
Starts with a 5.
Yeah,
I know it.
52.
No, that's the last two numbers.
57, 52. There it is.
I know pretty much all of them.
Yeah. But so that's also where I got my nickname. Was the 1 month that I worked at that store. We got another friend of ours. I walked in and he said, "So your name's Chase?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Kind of like Mace Windu." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "I don't know. I hadn't seen Star Wars at the time. No hate, no judge. I'm aware this is 2009 and I had not seen Star Wars yet, but and Austin's a huge Star Wars fan, and the look I am getting right now is of death." But anyway, that's where the name Chase Windu came from, was from the 1 month I was at that store. And yeah, so Chase Windu was born from that point. But anyway, I got off track. Modern Warfare 2. So, store manager, first time I was running a store, and it was at New Cut 5752, Modern Warfare 2. Now, here's the thing. The store that we were just talking about was like the busiest store in the whole district, and they had like the most pre-orders I think in the whole state.
That's typically how.
Oh yeah,
for that game in general.
Oh,
we were always up on certain games. 2K we usually got beat out.
Oh yeah,
but overall we like most of your big games. We were always the busiest store.
Yeah, and
we always had a ton of pre-orders. That's just how it worked.
Well, and that's the thing in Kentucky specifically. The two busiest stores were Timberwood, which is a store that you worked at whenever you started working there. But then there was another store in Lexington, Kentucky called Crossroads, which ironically enough,
that changed right after you left.
Well, because it's closed. It's not even open anymore.
Well, what I was getting, the reason I say that is because then like the E-Town store opened.
Oh yeah.
And then whenever Springhurst split from 2 to 1,
right,
and all the businesses shifted to 1,
that's right.
It skyrocketed.
But so what was so impressive though is the store that I was running at the time, New Cut. We were second in the state for that game. Like we had so many pre-orders, it was insane.
I forgot that was the first store you actually ran, dude, right?
Yeah. And it was insane. We had people grilling. We had to have police out, of course, and everything. We had a COD tournament going. And the thing about doing tournaments for those games. So at some point we'll probably talk about ESRB stories, which is about the rating system in the games. And all those COD games are rated M for mature. Anytime, like doing like a Super Smash Bros. Launch or whatever, you didn't have to manage.
It was easy. You could put it on a projector out in the parking lot. We did it.
But those mature titles, you had to do it inside. You had to check people's IDs.
Yeah, because I'll never forget. Because Gears of War was funny because, as I spoke earlier, like it's my first one as an employee, but I wasn't like I was there, but I wasn't. I think I left before the actual midnight part of it. I think I got off at like 10:30 or 11 that night, like just because they didn't want me for the overnight part of it. Well, we set it up in the back half of the store, and we had our interactives, and they were faced backwards.
Oh yeah, back to the back of the store,
where you could not see from the street, and you couldn't come in. And Rob was standing at the front, like not letting anybody in and running the tournament. I wasn't allowed to go back there because I was 16.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. They did secret shops and stuff at GameStop where like they would intentionally have somebody come up with a M-rated game and all that. It was absolutely just ridiculous. But that Modern Warfare 2, we had a tournament which was on. It wasn't on Modern Warfare 2 because you couldn't open the game. Which actually,
they changed that. They started letting you.
Yes. Well, I also think it was, we were talking earlier that Halo 3 did the Legendary Edition with the helmet. And COD, I think it was Modern Warfare 2.
Is that the goggles?
I think that's where they started the regular edition, the hardened edition, and then the prestige edition. And then they had the goggles with Modern Warfare 2. And so you talk about having so many pre-orders on that. But when you factor in how big that box was, dude, our whole back room was nothing but COD.
So, which I know you know this, but you know that was also my back room at one point.
No, yeah,
because
that's true.
I also ran that store.
I forgot about that.
So that back room was weird too. Like the way
well, I think by the time that you took it, though, they had moved to a different spot. I think
it used to be Rhino, and they bought Rhino.
Yeah, but I think when you were there, though, they had moved. Or did it have the back room with the loft up top?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So same back room then. Yeah.
It was like where Walmart was on the right. It was on the left. Like
yeah. I'm just talking about a different spot in the shopping center because I know
we were second from the end because the only thing on the when I came out, the only thing to the right of me was
Cato, and
it was the Italian restaurant. And on the other side, it was Dollar Tree.
Yeah, they may have moved by then because they were in the same shopping center, but they
I
spots.
do remember that.
Yeah,
because I had to go help them move.
Yeah, so they moved spots. Yeah, but no, that launch.
You're right because Gene was running it when they moved.
Yeah, so it but that launch was a good time. It was insane. It was also fascinating how we got to a point where we operated like a well-oiled machine. Like you think of. I feel like we had like 1,500 pre-orders or something crazy, but we still managed to have everything processed and like all the employees were gone by like 1:30, 2 o'clock. Like, and you couldn't start anything until midnight. But I say all that to say, because I'm going to lose this thought. The other memorable launch that I have to mention, and it's because I was able to get a inflatable Mario costume from corporate. And it was for Super Mario Galaxy 2. And there's pictures of it somewhere on my Facebook and stuff like that of me in a giant inflatable Mario costume. I don't even know if you've seen that picture, but it was what made it so memorable is it's obviously a more family-friendly game. So it was, there wasn't tournaments or anything like that, but it was real chill and laid back. And again, there's something about midnight launches that brought out the best in people,
So that's probably your most memorable is
Modern Warfare 2 and Galaxy 2.
They were both employees though, right? Like
yeah, that was working. That was working.
Black Ops 2 is my favorite that I've ever been to, and it's simply because just what we did. We had they roped off the parking lot. We had a whole football game going. We brought a basketball goal up. They were cooking. They had, you name it. That release, man. There's just so much.
COD in general always brought out a lot.
So many memories, and I'll never forget because we went to that launch, and me and Wayne talked Mom into not going to school the next day. So like, we stayed up for the launch. We went to launch. We came home. We downloaded. Servers didn't work. We were mad. we got up next day, played all day. It was fantastic.
Despite the server issues back then, I feel like they're worse now.
So my favorite one that I worked, believe it or not, is I worked that real small store in Poplar.
Yeah.
And
that's the one down by Ottoman Hospital?
Yeah. It's closed now.
Oh, okay.
It is a Jimmy John's.
I like Jimmy John's. Freaky fast delivery.
But we were a small store. But me and my guys, we were very, very, I was a store manager at the time, but we were, for some reason, because it having superheroes in it, my guys got really behind it. We had a really good midnight. There was a store right next door. I don't even remember what it was now, but they gave us food for it. And because this is after they started stopped giving you funding and stuff. Man, I had they let us play the game early. That's where I was getting at with that.
Oh
earlier.
Yeah.
So we had an Injustice tournament.
Was it the first Injustice or Injustice 2?
It was the first one. Injustice 2, I was at Greenbelt.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It was literally, I started at Greenbelt 3 days before Injustice 2 came out.
Oh, nice.
It was not fun mapping out at midnight and right after you get there. But anyway, but my SGA at the time, she was fantastic. She was awesome. She ended up being an assistant. after I left, she was incredible. She went and got cookies for everybody. Like, we ended up having like 40 or 50 people. We ended up having one of the bigger midnight launches.
Yeah, that's
because
nuts.
Injustice wasn't like,
Well,
it was a big game, but it
yeah.
wasn't like, it wasn't a COD. It wasn't
right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's also not your textbook competitive fighting game. Even though I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat guys did that, right?
Yeah.
But you're right.
Well,
it's not.
But
it's
also it ended up going to Evo and stuff. So it became it later.
Right. Yeah.
But like
that's impressive for a game like that.
Yeah. So I will never forget, because we were we had a bunch of regulars come, and it was a good time, man. It was just,
again, Midnights would bring out the best in people, like without a doubt.
Well, and then we had and that was because we actually were doing well on it. It was the first one, because I don't even know store manager, man, for like a month and a half, and we gained a ton once I got.
They called them store leaders by the time you got there. Right?
Yeah, I was a leader. Yeah, you have to make a comment.
See,
about that.
I was a store
manager. No. When I first got there, when I first got promoted, I was a store manager. I became, because I guess Daniel was there, so I would have been an ASL before I left. An assistant store leader.
Yeah, all that stuff changed after I left.
Yeah, they started turning everybody was regional leader, district leader, store leader, assistant store leader.
Well, so before I lose this thought, now I'm fairly certain that I have told you this story before. If I haven't, this is going to be really funny. But I have to say, there's probably one midnight launch that's more memorable than any of them. And I will say, I had to review the dates to before we recorded so that I could really see if this happened. So Modern Warfare 2 came out November 10th, I think it was, of 2009. A week later...
Still the greatest COD game.
No, agreed. A week later, there was Assassin's Creed 2, arguably by most the best Assassin's Creed game. I personally disagree. I think Black Flag is the best, but most people would say Assassin's Creed 2. And Left 4 Dead 2. They came out on the exact same night.
Where were you at this point?
New Cut. Yeah.
You were still there?
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. Between those two launches, so I didn't realize that this happened this way. I had to transfer consoles and Prestige editions from my store to 737. And I had them in my car. I drove that silver Dodge Caliber at the time. I was driving down Outer Loop, and a lady pulled out in front of me. I was going, and you know that stretch of road, speed limit is 55. So I was hauling probably 60. Lady pulled out in front of me, and at that light, like she was going to UPS, pulled out in front of me, and I slammed right into her. And it's a handicapped lady, and she was handicapped, for the record, before I hit her. She did not get made handicapped by me hitting her. But anyway, I had to go get checked out for concussion. I had to be under surveillance and stuff for a couple of days. And you know me, I never took off work for anything, right? And so that was all on a Friday.
Is this the PlayStation Move story?
No, this is not the PlayStation Move
All right,
story.
keep going, sorry.
I'm glad you said that, though. We'll have to get into that story. But no, so it was on a Friday because I was going to drop these transfers off. Like, I had to have somebody come and get all of the product that was in my car. I can't remember who came and got it.
I've never heard those.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So that was on a Friday. So Monday night at midnight, Assassin's Creed 2, Left 4 Dead midnight launch. I did take off one day on the weekend because of the accident and everything like that. And I was hurting real bad in my chest, and I had to be watched for concussions. And you know me, I've had like 6 concussions from being jumped and different things. So that was just another one for the list. Anyway, so I go to work that midnight launch for Assassin's Creed and Left 4 Dead. Now, not a huge launch, especially coming off of COD, but we had, probably 20, 30 people show up. And normally with the smaller launches, you would get them processed, within 10 minutes. But you were always told, stay open till 12:30 or 1, depending on the type of game, right?
Yeah, I think ours was like you had to be, it's like 15 minutes from the last customer or something like that, or 20 minutes from the last customer. It was a time limit from the last customer.
Yeah. So we got everything processed really quick. Well, here's the problem. I started feeling a certain way, like not good at all. And you know how I avoid the doctor. I got all the customers done, and I forgot who I was working with. And I was like, we got to close. And they were like, but we have to wait until X time or whatever. I said, look, I understand that. I said, but I am telling you that we have to close. And so we did close. And so we left. I got halfway down Outer Loop, or almost all the way down Outer Loop. You know where Texas Roadhouse is, just past 65. Had to pull off the side of the road, and I was struggling to breathe. I called an ex-girlfriend at the time who lived nearby, and I basically explained what was going on and said that I was struggling to breathe. I was outside of her neighborhood. Could she come get me and take me to the hospital? She said no, hung up. Ex-girlfriend, makes sense, right? I call my mom and I'm like, hey, what hospital do you think has the shortest wait time? She's like, I don't know, probably Baptist. I was like, okay. I hung up the phone, didn't say anything else. Drove myself down to 65, down Waterston, got to Baptist, passed out, falling into the waiting room. Woke up, had all kinds of tubes and all kinds of stuff going on. My left lung had collapsed. And basically what I guess had happened was because of that car accident, I had been taking like light, shallow breaths because of the bruising. And it like deflated my lung. And I passed out falling into the hospital and they had to stab me with stuff and get my lung inflated, all kinds of stuff. I have no idea. But they ended up prescribing me Vicodin and I had to go pick up the Vicodin. By the time I left, it was like 4 a.m. I was able to find a 24-hour pharmacy, got the Vicodin. I had to work. I had to open the next day. And so I ended up popping his Vicodin. And so I am not condoning any of the things that I'm saying, by the way. But anyway, so I take his Vicodin, go into work, and I open. Well, obviously, a bunch of people showed up to get Assassin's Creed and Left 4 Dead, and several of them were very angry because they tried to come at midnight and we had closed. Needless to say, probably my least proud moment with customer service because I was a jerk to everyone all day that day because literally I had just recovered from a collapsed lung and was on Vicodin while I was working. And I ended up working open to close that day also. So I didn't get home until like 10:30 that night. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that story,
no.
dog. That's wild.
Yeah, it is the quintessential kind of example of me never ever taking
That's the
off.
store that I got hurt in too, though, because we had these signs that got hung up, and they hung the sign up, and it was a newer sign. It broke off the wall and fell on my foot.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so Conrad had to come get me from another store. He had to come get me because I couldn't move my foot, and he drove me to the immediate care center.
Yeah, I feel like we'll probably end up having to have a whole episode on injuries, ailments, and workaholic tendencies at some point.
Oh yeah, because when we were salaried at GameStop.
Oh yeah, totally different ballgame. Yeah, we don't.
We'll get into that another time.
That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's probably about time we take. We'll wrap this segment up. That's probably a whole other episode.
Oh, without a doubt. In the grand scheme, this
I love my time though, man.
Yeah. Oh, dude, hashtag throwback. So yeah, this is going to kind of bring us to the end of our story mode segment. We talked about our midnights at GameStop, our favorites, our previous consumer as an employee. You got to hear about how I, did not care about my own health, apparently.
That's a problem.
Yeah, back then. But that being said, we're going to pivot over to some of our side quests today. And so let's jump into those. Our first one is going to be called Now Loading. So Now Loading is a segment where basically we're going to, take on different little trendy social media games and, things like that. Blind rankings, viral hot takes.
Let's be honest, guys. We got this from TikTok. We're just going to use a bunch of TikTok trends and we're going to do them in our own way. Let's be honest.
That's exactly what it is. I'm trying to get, I could explain it 50 different ways, but that's basically it. We scroll through TikTok like everybody else. We find things that sound cool and we decide to do the same thing. And because Halo is all the rage right now with Campaign Evolved being announced.
Which we will get into that a little bit later in the episode.
Oh, yeah. But with it being a recent announcement, we're going to go through and talk about the primary 10 games in the Halo kind of franchise, and we're going to kind of blind rank them, basically. So your options, so I'm going to ask Austin first, and then he's going to flip it over and ask me. So our 10 games that we're ranking, you've got Halo 1, 2, and 3, ODST, 4, 5, and Infinite, but let's also not forget about Reach, and then Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2.
Hot take, I really liked Halo Wars.
Oh, dude.
I played a lot of Halo Wars.
Halo Wars is criminally underrated. All right, so let's just start with let's start from the bottom. So we're going to go from 10 to 6.
Reach and ODS. Reach is...
I know you're not about to put Reach in the bottom half. I will come over there and give you a swift kick if you put Reach. I mean, actually, it's your take, but it's a stupid take.
I wasn't a huge fan of Reach and ODST.
All right,
so I'd say probably ODST's 10.
Fair.
Reach is probably 9.
Okay.
5 is probably 8.
Okay.
So it leaves me Infinite's probably. Actually, I played. Man, I didn't mind Infinite's
Yeah, I thought it was
multiplayer.
weird they went
So
open world.
Infinite is 7.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. No, 5's gonna drop. I did not like 5.
All right, fair enough.
So 5's gonna drop.
All right.
5's gonna be down a little bit. 5. Let's put 5 at 9, and then push everything else up, and then by time played, mine's probably Halo Wars 2, Halo Wars.
Okay.
Uh,
All right, now we're getting in top 5.
my number 3 is probably Combat Evolved, and I can explain that in a second.
Okay.
And then 2, then 3's 1.
So you've got Halo 3, Halo 2,
Halo
1. Then
the 2 Halo Wars
two
games.
Halo Wars. So probably Wars and then Wars 2, right?
Actually, probably Halo Wars, Halo 4, Halo Wars 2.
Fair. Okay.
And then Infinite 5, probably Reach ODST.
All right. Fair enough. Now, I'm not surprised, though, that you put 3 at number 1. That is probably the most popular take. But you also grinded the online, like multiplayer.
Yeah,
and you were
so
good
I played.
at it.
No, I wasn't great at it because I was young, but I played a lot of Forge. I played a lot of.
I forgot all about Forge.
I played through Legendary Edition or the Legendary mode multiple times to try to find all the skulls. I mean, I think I had, and that was Wayne and his buddies played it a lot, so I would play with them. So we played that. That's the reason 2 is the one that me, Wayne, and our cousins like, because we didn't on the original Xbox. I didn't have Xbox Live. I didn't have Xbox Live till Xbox 360. So
all
I
LAN
played
parties and stuff.
Yeah, so that's what we played the most together.
Gotcha.
So what? So you do the same thing. Start from 10 and go up.
Yep. All right. So for me, it's definitely gonna be a little different to yours. I can't believe you put Reach that far down because Reach is amazing.
I didn't play it.
Well,
I didn't play it that much. That one and ODST are the 2 that I started playing. I just wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah. Well, I will say one of my favorite Legendary editions was Reach. It has that statue with all of them, but I will agree with ODST being 10. That I will never forget being so let down by that game. So I'm gonna say 10 ODST. But then I am going to go with 5, then 4. So we're gonna go. So we're at 10, 9, 8. So we've got ODST, we've got 5, we've got 4. I'm gonna do Halo Wars 2, then Infinite. All right. So now we've got 5 more to go. So I'm gonna have to say Halo 3 at number 5.
It's crazy because that should have been your peak. Like,
Nah, well, and I'll get to that, but Halo 3 at number 5. Halo Wars at number 4. Then Halo, I think I've jacked up my counts a little bit, but so we're going to do Halo 3, we're going to do Halo Wars, we're going to do Halo 1, but my top's Halo 2. And like,
I mean, our top is close.
Oh, and I'm sitting here talking about Reach. I didn't factor Reach in. So we're going to do Halo 2, then Halo Reach. So my top 2 are Halo 2 and Halo Reach. Now, the reason I don't put 3 that high, so because everyone puts 3 at their top. I did not like Forge at all. I wasn't a fan of it. The story,
I thought it was fantastic.
The story of 3, I wasn't overly invested in, and I'm not super competitive.
Well, that's the odd and end. So for our listeners, that is something you will learn between the two of us. I don't play a lot of single player games. I play a lot of competitive multiplayer games,
and I play a lot of single player.
Chase is the exact opposite. He plays a lot of single player. Like, would rather do that. When we get to a point where we start talking about our favorite games, my favorite game that I've played for probably 10 years is a multiplayer only game. There's not a single player on it at all.
Yeah.
So.
But no, Halo 2, and I thrive on nostalgia. So Halo 2 is the whole reason I bought an Xbox. It was the first time I ever played online because I did have Xbox Live. Now, we've got oodles of LAN party stories about Halo 2 also, but Halo 2, the story, the cutscene, finishing this fight, giving the Covenant back their bomb, all of that was just peak.
I will say that's why the only reason 3 is 1 is because that's where it came that and COD were the two games that I really started playing. Like when I got deep into it, outside of like Pokemon and stuff, like that is what got me playing.
Well,
So
I'm still bummed that you put Reach as far as you did, but in
just didn't
general, I
play
think
it, to
our
be
tops are
honest.
pretty good. So you said top Halo 3.
If I
say
remember
top
right,
Halo 2.
Reach is the one that came out the same year as either Black Ops 2 or one of the top Call of Duty games that's all I played.
That's fair.
So if I was playing that, like I mean, like there's a couple,
well,
which you probably don't know, but there's a couple of champions that like, there's like 2 champions that went from Halo to COD.
Yeah.
You don't really have a lot that go from COD to Halo.
No, there was that whole pissing match between Halo and COD too.
Yeah,
but
for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our kind of now loading segment, taking on different little trend things. This one was rating Halo games, but now we're going to jump into our next segment, which is called the DLC drop. So the DLC drop is just going to be kind of quick fire takes on new releases, remakes, reboots, what's worth your time, and what should have stayed in the vault if we start talking about any remakes or reboots. That being said, though, I think the hottest news floating around as far as remakes and reboots and disappointments, at least for me, they just had Fallout Day the other day. I don't know if you watched did you watch the release
No.
or anything? So, everyone was all fired up. We had the stealth drop this year of Oblivion, which, did you play it?
I played it, but I wasn't I mean, our buddy's the only reason I even played Elder Scrolls. Like I just, again, multiplayer guy, not single player.
Fair assessment.
So
no, it when that stealth dropped, like I did download it and I did play it and I did enjoy it, but I didn't get my real taste of Elder Scrolls till Skyrim, like a lot of people. So I didn't put a whole lot of time into it. But when I heard that it was very heavily rumored that they could do a potential remaster in the same fashion of Fallout 3, like I think we both agree that like the best Fallout game is Fallout 3.
But I mean, that's the one I've definitely put the most time into. I didn't that in New Vegas. New Vegas was fun too. But Fallout 3, I played more time in Fallout 3 than I did New Vegas for me playing a single player game. Like I put.
Well, and that's the thing. The thing that makes me feel bad is I've always heard nothing but good things about New Vegas. I know Obsidian jumped in on it. I've never played New Vegas, but I remember working at GameStop when Fallout 3 came out. And everybody was like, man, what's the deal with this Fallout? Now, obviously, there had been Fallouts before. But I remember people asking, what's this game about? And the go-to explanation was, do you like Elder Scrolls? Yeah, I like Elder Scrolls. It's Elder Scrolls with guns. Like, that was the explanation. Now, from a logic standpoint, that makes sense. They're both Bethesda.
Yeah.
But at the time, I don't feel like people were as in tune with developers back then, Like,
I'll agree with that because I think that they got to a point where, like, now, like, if something comes out from Bethesda, if you like game X, you're going to buy that game simply because it is made from Bethesda.
Yeah, it was just one
of
those.
Which there's only a few places that people will do that.
Right, but when they announced that they were basically doing like a collection of things for Fallout 4. And a collection for New Vegas instead of announcing a Fallout 3 remaster. I was so upset and so triggered by that. And I say this, okay, I don't get really upset or triggered about anything. I'm just saying in general, like I was not chucking controllers or anything, but I was really hyped about the idea of a Fallout 3 remaster. And instead they just, because they've done next-gen updates on 4, and then they're just putting a big old collection together. I just thought it was a giant waste of time.
What's that new game you've been telling me about? I haven't played it yet, but the one that has Laura Bailey and
oh man, okay,
that's the other game that
yes.
we need
so
to get into.
Yes. So as far as disappointment this year, Fallout 3 not having a remaster, very depressing. But great pivot to something that completely surprised me. Dispatch is what it's called, and so this game. Hold on. So if you have not played this game is only $30. It's on PlayStation, it's on Xbox, on PC. I'm telling you, if you're a fan of Critical Role, it's your narrative based. Now, look, I know you don't do single player, but
I've changed a little bit now.
Yeah,
I had kids. I gotta play games that
That is true because you've been grinding some Yote, but
Yote
that's a whole other rabbit hole. But so this Dispatch game. If anyone has not played it, it's episodic. They released the first 2 episodes 2 weeks ago, and then last week the next 2 episodes released. We get 2 more this week, and then it ends with the last 2 episodes following week. So it's episodic. Think like Quantic Dream vibe. Which, didn't you play Detroit Become Human?
I played Detroit a little bit. I played Until Dawn.
Okay, well, yeah, same vibes.
And then I played all the. Didn't you say it's kind of like a Telltale game too? Like
it is like a Telltale.
Yeah. I've played a lot of the Telltale games.
So
because they're games that I can sit in
a
couple hours.
Well, and we were just talking. I know you watched it, but I haven't watched it yet. But the new season of Gen V,
yeah,
the boys and the vibe of the boys and everything. That is what Dispatch has. So you are literally, without giving any spoilers away, you are a dispatcher for superheroes. But the story is amazing. The gameplay is pretty standard. Quick time events, making decisions. Some people have said the gameplay is like a mobile game, but it's fun. It's cool. But the story, the decisions, the absolute hilarity that is the content, the dialogue. Plus, you said it when you were asking me what this game was, and frankly, it's what reminded me. The cast. You got Matt Mercer. You got Laura Bailey. You got Jeffrey Wright. You got Aaron Paul. Which, were you obsessed with Breaking Bad? I can't remember.
No, I didn't. Okay, I mean, I've seen episodes.
I wasn't big on Breaking Bad either.
Wayne watched it.
Oh, but no, the casting on this game is on point. So yes, you need to play it, and everyone else listening needs to play it.
I'm gonna once I finish actually, which who knows when that's gonna be, getting through Yote. It should be after.
He keeps getting distracted by the bird.
It is me. So
that is hysterical, actually, because of so this is audio only, and if you all don't know Austin, he has a very large nose. So, and his nickname is Birdman, so it makes sense that the bird is distracting.
But I also want to wait because that's a game that I want to play all this episodes at once. So I would like all the episodes to release, so
that's fair, and it's not a scenario where you pay $30 for 2 episodes and it's $30 and that's it. But yes, you need to get it.
So, now talking about Halo.
Yeah. So since this section,
is the other thing.
Yeah. So I sat here and talked about remasters and brought up Fallout, but I guess the biggest remaster news is Halo Campaign Evolved coming to PS5.
That is a wild thing. First off.
Can you think back to when we worked at Gamestop?
Oh, there was never that's literally I had people buy the console simply to play the game.
The only reason I owned an original Xbox
was to play Halo. Yeah. So that's what. Now I know that there's not going to be multiplayer, but I'm okay with that. I think that I don't think it's necessary for that. You just need to play the story, and it's literally. The game is. I mean, when did Halo 1 release?
2001. Yeah.
So it's a 24-year-old game. It's just for people to. It's exactly what we're doing. It's nostalgia. That's all it is. I don't think you need a multiplayer for it. If you want to.
No, I agree.
Especially with the day and age where everybody now has. Yes, there are people that only play console, but 90% of gamers are on a PC. So it's.
Well, and I mean, the idea, like I feel like this is like officially ending the console wars, which. Side note is our topic next week, but I don't mind not having multiplayer. And the fact, and to the point of multiplayer and single player, PlayStation consoles are generally single player people compared to Xbox people like you being more multiplayer centric.
Now I did switch because this current PS5, Xbox One, I do not own an Xbox One, but I have a PS5 and I love my PS5. I played a lot of my PS5.
It's so
crossplay
good.
changed that too, which that's something we'll get into another time.
But no, the Campaign Evolved, I'm going to be so fired up. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to watch it, or and just wear it out. Like, I mean, I'll watch playthroughs of it. I'll play it myself.
Yeah, I can see that, but it also is going to change too on what they do, like visually. I haven't seen the play. I just knew it was coming. Like I read about it, but I haven't seen like any graphical updates.
No, I need to send you the trailer stuff because it's insane. Before we wrap up the DLC drop, though, some honorable mentions on remakes and reboots and pivoting away from first person because literally Dispatch is not first person, but we talked Fallout, we talked Halo. But just honorable mentions for PlayStation players. They did do a remaster of Final Fantasy Tactics, Evil East Chronicles.
Which is funny. We were just talking about you buying that Vita so you could play that.
Yes.
That, like
I literally
last week.
I made it a point to find a Vita because I wanted to play Final Fantasy Tactics because I
And
had
they came
finished Marvel Midnight Suns and I wanted the vibe. Bought a Vita, got the Tactics War Lions, I think it's called, and then they announced the Evil East Chronicles. I was like, what in the world? But it's amazing. Everyone should play it. They added voice acting, including Ben Starr, which is outstanding. But also, this is a sleeper hit. This is a sleeper hit that a lot of people don't know about. But JRPG wise, they did a remaster of the Lunar games, Lunar 1, Lunar 2. It was on the Switch. It was on PlayStation. The nostalgia that I felt playing that, just it's right in line with kind of what we're doing. So
Yeah.
just honorable mentions when it comes to remakes and reboots that came out. Well, I think we've been talking for approximately 50 minutes. So I think that gets us to...
No, it's been a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, fair enough. But so that kind of gets us to our wrap up. This is going to be our save point section, if you will. We tackled our story mode, and like our namesakes, talked about midnight launches at GameStop, both from an employee perspective and consumer perspective. Then took on some side quests, talked about the hype around Halo, did some rankings. I still hate that you put Reach as far as you did.
Listen, man, like we can't all be winners.
Well, we are all entitled to opinions, even if those are wrong opinions.
I believe I said that to you last week.
Yeah, hush. And then we talked about some recent remakes, remasters, announcements, things like that.
Oh, just real quick, speaking of remakes, there's a lot. Nintendo is really good at remakes.
Yeah.
Just a side note.
No, that's a good point.
We can get into it another time.
Yeah, Nintendo gets a whole topic, I'm sure, on its own. So we're at our save point section now. So this is our wrap up that we're going to dive into here. So just wanted to tell everyone, first of all, thank you for kind of taking a listen, whether you're driving in a car or, just killing time, looking for that nostalgic, nerdy vibe. We got you. Second of all, in the interest of keeping with the theme, the full midnight release is going to be released each Monday night at midnight. So it's midnight Eastern time, and that's just because games back then released on a Tuesday, Monday night at midnight, which we kind of already talked about. We are going to also drop some content through TikTok or other areas leading up to an episode release. That's probably going to be like on a Thursday night at midnight. So that's kind of like with the Nintendo launches, which,
the whole purpose of this is we're doing it for nostalgia factors of what we did.
Exactly. So these are going to come out the same way of, to pay homage to, those kinds of things. Next week, we're going to see what we get into. We're going to talk about what really seems to be dead now with the announcement of the Halo campaign Evolved, but the console wars, is really going to be the topic next week. Sony versus Microsoft versus Nintendo. I don't want to call out a single generation because we're going to talk through all of them. And then also some new side quests to add to the rotation.
So, and I just thanks to everybody for listening. We're something we've wanted to do for a while. We decided to finally get it going. So, there's like Chase said at the beginning, there's a million memories that we have together between us, friends, things we've done. But really, everything originated from midnight releases and things like that at GameStop.
Oh, yeah. And, what's funny is you all don't know this, but, we have to be very cognizant to not go down any rabbit holes and not make this a 4.5 hour long podcast. So, like, this whole conversation, we're both looking at each other like, do we keep talking? Should we go ahead and move to something else? Because we do that. We just could sit around and talk and BS the whole time. But, that being said, until next time, my friends, remember not fellow, goodness gracious. Follow. There we go. I was like, what's the word? Follow, subscribe, reach out to us in the comments.
Words are hard.
Yeah, I know. I need my glasses, right?
You said it, not me.
I know. I walked right into it. But reach out in comments on or other platforms. We do have an email address set up, the Midnight Release Pod at Gmail. This week we want to hear about kind of all your favorite games of all time, whether you have recency bias or even nostalgia. Is irrelevant. We just want to know what your favorite game or games are of all time. You may wonder why we're asking a question at the end, but we'll get into that a little bit later as to why. But each time we're going to end with asking you some kind of question. So let us know.
We do want your feedback.
We do. Email them to us. Leave them in the comments on the pod or find us on TikTok. But we want to hear this information from you, the listener, as well, so that we can use this information later. But that does it for us. We'll see you next week. And remember, that some memories are worth lining up for. That is so cheesy, but I love it. I love it. See y'all next time.